So I make this video today in an effort to capture myself in process of observing myself make the video. So in observing ourselves, as I'm doing right now, making this video, if we take a close look, what is it in thought? What is thought's propensity to organize? I watch my actions, I watch my reactions, and in watching my actions and reactions, in true observance, I'm led to be aware of this propensity to organize. But what is being organized? Not the process itself. If I return this back to myself as an individual in observance, thought is thinking the contents of thought according to my systems and plans, my programming. Only my observance will bring me into this fortuitous situation upon which I can see that I have programmed myself. I continue to do such. I'm doing such now. Something like Iboga medicine, which brings huge ability to observe the self. Should it be that we talk of Iboga in terms of something factual? Surely one of its great injunctions is its ability to give us that ability to see ourselves in our own programming. And for a lot of people, that feeling of loss is often an abandonment of the self to self, losing the self, not realizing, not observing that their programming and their conditions of which we're experiencing are simultaneously programmed by the very person that's capable of observing reality in itself. This is a scission that occurs in reality, an in-breath and an out-breath, which is prevalent and preponderant in all reality. It's the magic of consciousness. It gives one the ability to observe itself in nature. If we were not part of nature, we would not be able to observe ourselves. For us to decide, or perhaps talk of a medicine like Iboga, in any tense, we risk it becoming slightly dogmatic. One has an experience on such a powerful tool of observance and all of a sudden perhaps discovers that the original descriptions of what they may experience perhaps have not. How does that make them feel? Does this push them back in a gravitational effect to a point where they're not observing? These little hits, these little shocks? Surely we have to talk about it having some capacities. So we do. But perhaps in observing ourselves, we should seek for it to be more of the individual, more about the processes of observance and its abilities in terms of being spoken from the individual to another, and making sure and certain that the person being spoken to is aware that it is going to be their observance of their own programming that gives them and grants them that answer. Surely this is something that needs to be considered in healing, because after all, on an experience like Iboga, you are left to yourself. In weedy teachings, I'm told this constantly by providers and other people, and I've seen it in my own experience. We're born alone and we die alone. So are we going against the being born alone and dying alone by continually telling people that Iboga does this as opposed to Ibogaine, or Ibogaine does this as opposed to ayahuasca, or it does. It does a lot of things. But I started this post about observing myself talk. How do I react to myself? Even now as I'm talking, how do I react to that? Do I act or react? Do I jerk backwards with aversion? Does my mind wander? Do I feel agitated? Do I feel uncomfortable? Do I feel excited? Do I feel emotional? All of these are cues that are my individual cues. And I hope that others, by watching something like this, are not being talked to, but only being inspired to look at process and not my context. Because the process is what's universal. The process of universality is the ability to observe and program the self and deprogram the self, to generate and radiate at once in dual vortexing energy. This is everyone's gift. To get more succinct, to be sharper, to be more accurate energetically for others in their healing, no matter what their healing choice is. It is always going to come down to a case of observing the self within the process, which is nature. It cannot be escaped. And that part I will be dogmatic about. That's the ironic part. You're always going to be yourself. But as long as you're aware of the programming. So when we have people that are seeking, and people that are looking to heal, and people that are coming into cases where they need answers, the answers are always going to be residing in the self. That's what we're teaching. I hear this all of the time. But on the one hand, I hear this from facilitators saying that this is the case, the self needs to do this on their own, and the next minute they're telling them quite unequivocally that this will be their experience, that this will happen, that this won't happen. Finding that balance between encouraging someone to come in and heal and feel safe, whilst not having them overridden by what is the individual's topic. I'm doing that right now as I talk. I'm observing myself do that as I talk. Mind is organizing my ability to talk. I feel it do this for me. I watch it. My intent is what exists, not the words in which I speak into the phone. My intent and action exist well before the words. I describe the intent and action simultaneously with the words, and I attract more words with the harmonic and octave resonance of the vibration of the sound produced by the word. But it is not the intent. The intent is where we live, and the intent is from the position, or the position from which we can observe. If we are lost in words, and we listen to others' words, without listening to ourselves react to those words, we may perhaps experience something a little different from what we expected in the first instance, and that is no one else's fault other than us just not remembering our universality of nature. Truth resides in the individual, and anything collective starts to spread the ignorance. Neither bad or good. A return to the self is often seen as something selfish. And in modern leftist cultures and esoteric wisdoms, it's often talked of the collective and how we're all together and whole. We are. But first and foremost, we're individuals simultaneously within the whole. It is the balance, the one and many dyslexia of man that we're experiencing. It seems that people are either one at one moment or themselves at another. But you are all of that at once. This can be felt through the observance. And I'm definitely not the first person to say something like this. This is going on and on and on, forever. This video has already been created. That's the beauty. As I'm watching myself, I'm actually watching what I've already created. I'm watching what I've already said. So observance, it becomes more. The two things that two people agree upon are just things they agree upon to make something solid between them. but it's a fragment. If we observe the fragmentations that exist, we can start to heal. Thank you.